Hi, so my name's Joe Lakota, and I own a 1969 AMC AMX. Interesting thing is, this is number 37 between AMXs and Javelins that I've owned since I was 14. This particular car came out of Colorado, came out of Fort Collins. I picked it up from the son of the owner that bought it in 1980. So his name's Ben Parman, and Ben's a heck of a nice guy. Of course, being his dad's car, when his dad passed in 2017, he got the car, but he's not really a car guy. Certainly liked the attachment that it came from his father, but he was constantly putting, effort into the car to keep it running, flushing the fuel system, getting the carburetor, adjusted from sitting. And he finally decided it was time to find a new home for the car. And I was fortunate enough to see his ad that was on Facebook Marketplace and was available. So I flew up to Denver and then up to Fort Collins, drove up to Fort Collins, saw the car. We talked for quite a while about it, and I decided it was time to bring that car to Arizona and have its retirement happen down here. The gentleman that owned it, Dr. Herschel Phelps, bought it in 1980, as I said, and he had the car since 2017 when he passed. But he, like me, had an affinity for AMC. He also had an AMC Ambassador station wagon. Ben that shared that story with me, that you remember that car. Like I've said for many years, that the doctors told me there's nothing they can do. Once it's in your blood, it stays in your blood, and that's how it was with this brand. So the car is a Regatta Blue car with saddle interior, pretty close to original. It's been resprayed once. The carpets have been changed, the seats have been reupholstered, but for the most part, it's an original car. Power steering, power brakes, air conditioning, tilt wheel, go package, 390 with an automatic, 315 rear. And it was just the type of car I wanted. I wanted a good driver and something that I could play with. I recently retired and needed a hobby. I had been away from AMCs for about 20 years. The car I had prior to this one was a 1969 Big Bad Blue, one of 195 built, 390 car. And I had that car for about 3 years and decided I wasn't driving it enough because I put 236 miles on it, and it had to find a new home. So it went back to the East Coast to New Hampshire. For me, I've been into AMCs since I was about 14, and all through high school, I owned several Javelins and AMXs, a couple of Ambassadors, mostly for parts. The most I owned at one time was 9 different AMCs. So after being in the hobby for quite a while, I built up quite a collection of parts and cars and bought and sold things. And then at the age of 23, it was time to get married. So I ended up selling off a bunch of my cars and parts, and that's what paid for the wedding, and that also paid for the down payment on my first house. So AMC has done well by me, through my life. So I'm fortunate enough to have this one, able to put time and effort into it, buying parts, trying to locate parts. It's always been a challenge with AMC, being as they were the underdog brand, orphan brand, as a lot of people will call it now, since they were purchased in '87 by Chrysler. It's tough to get parts, but there's more and more reproduction happening. Good companies out there like APD and Kennedy and several others that are reproducing parts. I used to be quite fanatical when it came to originality. I've gotten better. So as time goes on, I realize that originality is nice, but I'm at the point now where I just want to drive the car. So I'm really taking this one around to as many local events as I can to get it out there and be seen. The tagline that keeps coming up is, "Oh my gosh, I haven't seen any of these in a long time." And a lot of people come up and say that. And then I get to hear the stories of oh, my girlfriend had a Javelin, or my brother had an AMX, or my friend had one. I get to hear all the different stories that come up. And being a car person, my whole life, as well as motorcycles, those stories mean a lot to me now. Thinking back, and I think back to the memories that these cars have for me. In my high school, there was 5 of us that were really into AMC. And the Regatta Blue was special because one of my close friends in high school had a Regatta Blue. The first 2-seat AMX I rode in was a Regatta Blue with the platinum interior. And it still sticks with me. that first ride in a 2-seat AMX with a 390. And now that I have a Regatta Blue, I always think of him. His nickname was Flip. And I always think back to him, when I see the car, talk about the car. And there were, like I say, there were several others at the high school. So in regards to this particular car, it certainly needs some attention. It could definitely use, we could do a full restoration on it, but I don't think that's my goal with it. I think I just want to get things tidy on it, get it cleaned up as best I can, maybe eventually get a respray on it, do some of the body work that it needs, the door dings and things like that it has. Because again, it's a good driver. The motor's really tight, works really well, good oil pressure. The transmission's tight, which, boy, if something happens to that transmission now with the Borg Warner automatics, they're really, really hard to get parts for. So I'm hoping everything stays together on it. I tend not to drive it hard. There's no reason to. I got that out of my system years ago. But little things, for a car that's this old, it's almost as old as I am. And I, creak and squeak and moan, and it does too, so we have a good relationship together. But I'm slowly getting parts built up. It needs a headliner in it. I have the headliner to put in there, but I'll wait till summer months because that's our winter here in Arizona, and tear the interior out of it and put the headliner in it and get that done. And the speedometer likes to bounce around, so I'll get that taken care of. The clock doesn't work, and that's a typical thing for an old car. So a lot of little detail parts that aren't too challenging. That allow me to tinker with it, but yet keep the car on the road and keep it driving. So I've been going to a lot of the local events here in Arizona. We've got a really great car scene here, a lot of local clubs, cars and coffee events. Our big AMC show that typically happens in April. It's the big show at Martin's Museum where all the AMC people from the area, and probably from Nevada and California, will come over. But it'll be nice to get together with a bunch of like-minded people, as crazy as AMC people are, and kind of show the car.